Multiple people have claimed to see a large furry animal trudging through the woods.
I literally could see him from all the way over here. I started hearing it. It was very large, and it was running so fast.
Of sorts for campers in Taos County. The Sheriff's Office is sharing safety tips on social media to protect yourself from
Bigfoot.
I saw something out of the corner of my eye off the side of the road in the culvert.
It's not like a bear, and it wasn't like a coyote. I've never seen anything like that.
No details, just big, like 10-foot foam, big figure. It freaked out, hit her in the leg.
I don't think it registered what it was.
What's the likelihood that there are big animals that have gone undetected by scientists and by trained observers?
How y'all doing tonight? Welcome to the show. Got a good one in place for you tonight. My buddy Richie from Banter with Richie B podcast. Y'all got to check that out. But he bailed me out. So I was going to try to have Richie on sometime in April. I hadn't started booking because I'm booked through like the first week of April. And I haven't started booking any further. I was waiting until I get kind of next week and would start doing that. But the guy I had tonight canceled on me yesterday, and I was like, damn, what do I do? So ended up hitting Richie up, and Richie said he would love to bail me out, which, really, really cool. So he did me a solid tonight, and I really appreciate him doing it. Okay, so we talked about the Patterson film last time, right? We talked about capturing Bigfoot coming out. Y'all go back and look at that live. The comments are I think there are like 500 comments. Like not usually in the live chat, we get about 1,200, 1,800. But on the video, you cap out about 150, right? This thing is like 500 people just going back and forth. And some people are so hateful, guys, it's okay for everybody, me included or whatever, to believe that it's real, and it's okay to believe it's not real. Some people throw personal attacks, and the Bigfoot community is in a stir. It's like breaking apart right now, as if it was ever whole to begin with, but all breaking apart. So I like to stir the pot. I'm a shit starter. I'll be honest about that, which is fine. And I sent an email to the director Saturday when the news broke, right? I sent an email to the director and asked him if I could get him on the show. And he said yes. So I will be having an interview with the director soon. I say soon. I shouldn't say soon. He doesn't want to do it soon. He wants to wait until the film is about to release, and then he's going to come on the show. But he will be on here eventually. That could take up to a year trying to close the deal, just to be honest with you. That could take a while. Trying to close the deal and stuff. However, he did tell me there may be a possible screening in May in Seattle. So if I can get the money up, I may go watch the movie for myself and report back, right? I may fly to Seattle for the night, watch the film, and then fly my ass back home, if it's at all possible. But we'll see. Gas prices are almost $4 right now, and my job is based off of driving. So money about to get tight on everything, I have a feeling. But I'd really like to get out to Seattle and check that out and just tell everybody, what it is, my honest opinion. That way, because I've also looked at the film. The guy from the Harry Man podcast or Harry Man Road, maybe I don't know. I don't know how well he's seen the movie. I will be able to tell you if that is the suit. If Al Diatley's actually wearing the suit, you know. I don't know how confident he is in that. I would assume he's pretty confident in it, right? However, I asked to get that guy on the podcast, the Harry Man Road guy, and he said, "Brother, the Hornets are after me." He's like, "I'm having threats sent to me just for giving my review." And that's disgusting, right? Like, that's really bad. You shouldn't be that way. It's like I said, it's like cult behavior. Like, you're defending it like you got a horse in the race. You know what I mean? Like, if it's fake, it's fake. It is what it is. You know, there's no reason to threaten nobody. The man's telling you what he believes. And he, after watching it, believed it to be a hoax. So, but that stopped him from coming on the show, because I was going to bump him up and get him on this Friday. So it was pretty crappy that he said that, you know, but I feel him. I know how it gets. Like, after I got a divorce, there were people calling my ex-wife trying to get her to admit that my dad's thermal was fake, just trying to get her to say it. I know what they're thinking. Oh, we'll get somebody that's pissed with him and ask them, but she didn't. So, but it's just sad that people are like that. You know, because then you look at it and you're like, why do they think we're crazy? Blah, blah, blah. Why won't scientists take us seriously? That's fucking it if you ain't dialed into it yet. Because they think y'all are nuts, because the shit that some of y'all do makes it look bad on everybody. Because ain't everybody like that. I like to think here we're having a pretty civil discussion about all this. Sure, people are animated and believe in what they believe in. But nobody's calling names. Nobody's making threats. Nobody's trying to start fights. You know. But other places they are. You know. And that's why, like, I tell all my guests, I don't tell you all this, but I tell all the guests that come on here, you know, that I got a really good audience. It's a really good community in the chat. They're very engaged. They're very respectful. We do have some people that will call bullshit, and I like that. You know what I mean? You ain't got to be rude about it, but you can have your skepticism, because we all should have our skepticism. And tonight, the guy we're talking to had skepticism for 5 years, 6 years, I think. One of the two, he'll tell you. But he was hearing noises in his backyard. He lives in Massachusetts, and it's on 3 acres. And where he backs up to is a preserve, a bunch of acres, right? And he's hearing stuff, walking, different kinds of things, not being in tune to Bigfoot. And then one day he has an encounter that makes it all click for him. And therefore, you know, he became a Bigfoot researcher. He's got a podcast right now called Banter with Richie B that you guys should really check out. This guy's got a super ton of energy. And this should make for a very interesting show. So without further ado, let me welcome Richie onto the show. Richie, how are you doing?
Good, man. I'm doing great. Good to see you. Thanks for having me. And I know I was a fill-in. I'm a savior. I got it. It's let me just clarify one thing. It wasn't like I was doing nothing. I got like 7 kids. All right, so so it's a full-time job. You know what I mean? Constantly. But no, I love watching your show, and I love watching you grow. And It's awesome, dude. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with your audience. I watch in the background a lot of shows. You know what I mean? I don't get involved in a lot, and I kind of take in and I learn from people's opinions, thoughts, theories, experiences. You know, and that's part of my research. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're right. You got a pretty in tune audience, dude. That's why I kind of mentioned that to one of you when you posted. I said I can't wait to meet your audience. Kinda.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? But I see a lot of my audience on the side. Hi, everybody. Ernie Davio and Sam. And Sam's my executive producer. And OBR's here. A ton of people over there from there. Thank you guys for your support. And pleasure to meet Stacy's audience as well. So I'm only seeing the views from, I think, my channel, not yours, but I have yours on the phone here. It's kind of weird the way they do it, you know?
Yeah, I'm seeing in the chats it says paired. I have no idea what that means. I guess we're linked. Right. Okay. I got you.
That's me. I wanted my people to have a spot to jump in. They already know who you are. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You know, no worries there, man.
So, brother, you sent me some stuff about your story. Yep. And I got some questions because this stuff looks really good. Like the track, the ice foot, or whatever you called it.
Yeah, that's this guy right here. I don't know if you can see it in the way you got.
I can't see it in this one, but they'll see it in a second. I got the pictures and everything when we get to that. But you know, you got some really cool stuff. This audio, this video. Yeah. You know, we're gonna play a video. It's got some pretty significant knocks on it.
Yeah. Oh, that was a crazy night too. Yeah, that was crazy, dude. Dude, I'm just like blown away by the way my life has turned, and all I was doing was like in my yard. You know what I mean? Like I was blown away, and I'd been a paranormal investigator before. You know what I mean? So I have an open mind. You know, I just the way it went down. It was just so crazy. You know what I mean? Like just like what is happening? It was over time though, Stacey.
Right.
It was over time, a lot of time, and it was just. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, let's get into it, man. Let's because I know you said you were experiencing stuff for about 5 or 6 years, you know, in your backyard without really knowing what was going on. So what kind of stuff were you experiencing?
You know, and you explained my property pretty good, and it goes out to, it's 3 acres and 94 acres. You have a conservation on this side, preserve on this side. About a mile out is a major riverway. It's 1.1 miles from my door, but who's counting, right?
Right.
So and everything kind of bottlenecks, and there's houses here and here, but it's, you know, they're far away. You know what I mean? So you have to know the property to get into it, right? Now they have they built a path and the reserve came in, but before it was just like swamp and it was really tough to navigate. So I was here and walking. And I'm like, when I first heard it, it was crunch, crunch, crunch. You know what I mean? And again, I don't know what I'm listening for really at that time. So, but I'm hearing that and I'm going, that sounds like somebody walking. That was my first reaction in my head. Somebody's walking out there. And I'm like, all right, whatever. It was daylight, right? So I go about my business. And then I start hearing these breaks kind of way off in a distance, like, you know, just like, you know, and I'm like, who the hell's like building out there? You know what I mean? Like it just didn't make sense to me because of where it was. Now I had been out to the edge of my property and I owned this property since 2002, and it didn't, I must not have noticed a lot of things, or they came when they came. I remember I have a picture of me and my kids. I went back further. I have a picture of me and my kids out by a tree out there, and I had them dressed up like superheroes, and they all had like little like kid weapons, you know, like a bat and a shield or whatever. And I remember that story was, let's go find the monster. You know what I mean? So I attributed to that date, probably around 2015 is actually when I started hearing things, but I didn't really put it in my head until the light came on. Right. And so when it came up to this time, I was hearing all this walking around, and then it seemed like it was getting louder and closer each time. So I remember at the time I shared the property with my first wife. So she lives there now, but we were kind of sharing back and forth. So I said to her, there's something out back. Do you hear anything out back, you know? And she's like, oh, it's probably a buck or whatever, you know? And now in Southeastern Mass.
Hold on. It's probably a what?
A buck.
A buck. Okay. You like a back. It's a back.
Yes. All right. Listen. All right. Yeah. You're right. You're right. I should clarify. Listen, I parked my car in the Harvard yard. You know what I mean? So you got to get used to that. I don't use any R's. You know what I mean? So she says it was a buck. So we had that back and forth, and I didn't argue with her. You know what I mean? So time went on, and then I heard it like really loud, really close. But again, it was daytime. It could be anything from that side of the road, neighborhood, down, not even neighborhoods. It just align the road. So it's no neighborhoods in there. So I was sitting one night by the fire, and it was about 10 o'clock, ish. It was dark, and I hear, like snap, something broke, right? So I kind of prop myself up, and I'm like this. And I heard something, then I didn't know what it was, but I heard something kind of like, now I know it was something was thrown, I know what that sounds like now. But, it's all looking back like hindsight. So I'm sitting there and I hear it again, and then I hear the walking. And it's close enough to where it's like bipedal, man. It's like, I'm not hearing a, you know what I mean? Like a deer running or a buck,
Right.
And we don't have, if we have a bear in our area, it's all over Facebook. They name them, they follow them all over he's in this town now. Everybody's like, leave the bear alone. That type of shit goes on.
Y'all don't have bear?
No, man, we don't.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
I've been in these woods a long time, and it's like I've never seen a bear at all, and I've been in there year round constantly. You know what I mean? So, and we'll get to that. I'm in the woods with my buddy Wojo and a few other people from the research team 1, 2, 3 times even a week, because my research area, like it was my backyard, but where I live now, I'm still 7 miles, maybe 5 miles from there, 7 minutes to get there. So I have an advantage a lot of people don't, because I can just go back and forth constantly. But so I heard that, and then I hear the break, and I get up, and I don't ever douse my fire. I douse the fire when I always let them burn out. You know what I mean? And I went in the house, man. I was freaked out. I was like, that don't sound right. And I remember I was up to like 3 a.m. on my couch like this, like, like wide open. I couldn't sleep. I was like, I didn't understand what it was out there. There was no headlamp. I remember looking at it, I was thinking headlamp, flashlight. And I was out there. It was probably about a week later. I was out there again, and I heard it again. And I remember yelling. Finally, I yelled. It was towards dusk. I yelled, hey, because I didn't want to go out there at night again. Honestly, to be honest with you, it was kind of freaky. I didn't know what the hell it was. So I go, hey, like that. And because I heard the walking, and it stopped. And then I went, oh shit. Like it kind of reacted to me. So now I put intelligence with this thing. It understood I said something anyways. Typically for a wild animal, they're going to run off, or they're just going to keep doing their thing and they kind of ignore you, and you'll still hear them walking around. And it froze, man. And I just sat there, and I remember getting that fight or flight where I was just like, all right, I don't belong here. So I started backing up kind of, the growl.
Oh, you could see these? Okay, cool. I was hoping so.
No, I could see the comments. Yeah, and that's what I'm building up to. And it was like a time frame, a couple weeks, whatever. It was, it was broad daylight, and it was like 2 p.m. and it was like cold out. There was no leaves on any of the thickets or the brush or nothing. So it was towards winter, and I'm raking around that same fire pit to clean it up. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden I hear this loud one break kind of pull. Like that's what we know as a pull or a tree push now.
Right.
And I know I saw this as a pull for some reason. It was just like this. Now, on the other side of my fence, 30, 40 yards or whatever, was a game trail. Goes out, and then it opens up into a big open, and then you got the real thick stuff off to the right, and trees down straight ahead. Well, I could see that because it's about 80 yards away. I could see it as my eyes go to the noise like this, and I look, and this tree's getting ripped down. It's a brand new tree. I got like video of the tree. I went waited for a friend and took pictures and video of it. But it's like a oak or an elm. I'm not a tree guy. So it's like this big. And I watched that thing not just come down, but it was like 30, 40 miles an hour. Like it was yanked down. That's why I call it a pull. And I remember after dealing with all that, was trying to get shit done. I grabbed my phone. I go, what the hell's going on today? So I hold my phone out to the fence. I walk right up to the fence. Like, I go, come on, where you at? You know what I mean? Because again, I don't know totally what I'm dealing with. I have a good idea now because of a little bit of research that I got in between these events that were happening. So I started to get an idea, you know what I mean? Perhaps from the wrong source because it was just like mainstream shit, you know what I mean? And,
Right.
So I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm like, come on, where you at? And I move my phone back and forth. And there's a thicket on the other side of the game trail. It's about 12 high, and there's no leaves on it, but there's so many of those little gray sticks, you know what I mean? That you can't see to the other side of it. Well, I got my phone out, and all of a sudden I hear come through that thicket, goes like that, and you play it on my phone, it's muffled, but I heard it go through my chest. And I stood there and I go, what the fuck was that? You hear me just react. What the fuck was that? And I start doing this, and then I always get embarrassed by this because a lot of people play it, and I sound just stupid. But I'm like, this is my yard. I'll respect you. You respect me. I'm doing that man thing, right? And I was raised by my mom, and it hits me. Men don't live as long as women, right?
Right.
So I start backing up. I'm not turning my back. That's one thing I did know about wild animals. You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking at the time, wild animals. So I'm going backwards like this. And I get to the middle of my yard now. I can't hear nothing after that. It's quiet. Like that now what I know quiet, like scary quiet, man. And I got my hands on my knees and I'm in the middle. I got about an acre of grass fenced in. So I got up towards the road where I felt safer. And I got my hands on my knees and I'm just sitting there going, what the hell just happened? Like all that noise that I heard, I just had something physical come out of it. I just had a connection, you know what I mean? Like to the physical part of it, it was guttural. It was like, it's just thrown at me with ease. And I called my buddy, he's in South Carolina, and we become good friends. And he's a younger dude, but he's a Southern preacher. And I call him up and I said, bro, and he goes, because we play a lot of COD together and stuff, like out in the camper. I go out in my camper and play COD, and we play a lot together. He goes, what's going on in the backyard today? And he knew like right away. But I think by my tone, I said, I'm going to send you a video, dude. It's kind of tough to hear, but I want you to listen to it, man. And he goes, all right. So he calls me back 20 minutes later, and his first words are just like, dude, you know what I mean? Dude, like, wow, what was that? And then I tell him, it's a series of events. It wasn't just that one thing. It was the snapping of the tree. It was the reaction to me. It was the, that growl to me. So it was like, I always tell everybody now, you find, like, say you're in the structures and you find a structure. Well, look around for other things. You know what I mean? Look around for, obviously impressions, but look around for other breaks and things. See if there's a path of it, So if you have 2 or 3 pieces of circumstantial evidence, you can kind of put it together and present it to somebody and say, hey, have you ever had this happen before? So that was the day that was it. I was hooked. I was like, I need to know what's going on. And I started calling around places, and I got directed from a friend of mine, her ex-husband, I guess, had an experience in the Triangle. And that's where I'm located as well, by the way. It's Southeast Mass, the Bridgewater Triangle. You can Google it. Most of you guys probably know it. People that watch this stuff, they're such critical thinkers, bro. I mean, they blow my mind. They're just like right on top of things, but the Bridgewater Triangle. So I call him, and he was known for, which I didn't know, there's a bamboo patch out behind this old prison on this another preserve. And he was kind of like leaving cherries for him, I guess. And he got to the point where he could back up or whatever. He said back up or leave him on the stump. That's what it was. And they would reach through the bamboo and take the cherries. Well, that's the story. So I'm like, what? What the hell? So then he goes, I think you're dealing with Bigfoot. And I said, well, that's kind of what I was leaning towards, bro. But, how do you just grasp that and run with it? You know what I mean?
Well, so you were talking about the video when you got the growl. Okay. So these stills you sent me, that's what that's from, right?
Correct. So if you see, actually, when you see the raw video, he's standing right there.
So we're looking at those in the center, that what looks to be a shoulder and a head.
Yeah,
correct?
you can actually see the shape of the head. It's got that little peak at the top.
Yeah,
And then it would be his right shoulder is kind of sloped down, but you can almost see the cut where his bicep and tricep begin. It gets bigger. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And then on the other side, you see his leg coming through. Now it's just a silhouette. I've never claimed that it was a hairy beast with beautiful eyes. Yeah, but when I put it together and I went, oh my God, like that dude, that's right where my camera hit. I went right to the sound. I did paranormal investigation, so going right to the sound was normal. And boom, I put it right on him. And when you watch the whole video, you can actually see him kind of do this. Now that I knew where he was, his body was, look at it, it's pretty much covered by those gray sticks.
yeah.
It's not even brush. But in the moment, it was hard for me to see him. For one, I was panicked. And when I went back to the video, every time I zoomed in, it would just pixel out.
Right.
Yeah, that's the crazy part about it. And the other crazy part about it is this video came with technology, Stacy. I couldn't find this for years. I got an update. I'm sitting at Wojo's house months ago. This 6 years later, and I start showing now another researcher of our groups, the BOTG, Boots on the Ground Research Investigations.
Right.
I start showing them, and I'm going through, and I look down. I said, "Holy shit, what's that?" I had an update on my phone, and they had all these little things that you could do with your phone. So I started going, and I was showing him that video so he could hear it. And I said, "What the hell's that? What's this? What's that?" And then Wojo, my co-host and fellow researcher, looks and he goes, "Dude, I'm looking at this area right here." And lo and behold, dude, there he is right there. And I got to be honest, man, and not to sound like a wimp or anything, but I got a little choked up because I had the tree. I had the growl, which again, it's not that impressive. You know what I mean? But I know what happened, and there's something on my phone that you can hear it. Do I want it to be a big lion roar for the whole world to hear? Sure, but whatever. It wasn't. This is my story. This is how it happened for me. And then for him to point that out and for me to see that standing there, right, looking at me, dude. And I had to put it in black and white and do all that stuff to kind of get it out. But you could see a silhouette. And it's not just a silhouette, it's a silhouette I've seen many times on that other people have, that tree peeking. You don't always get like the hair and the cheek skin or anything like that. A lot of 9 out of 10, it's that silhouette look. And so if you put those three pieces of what happened in that event together, that just made it more validation for me for what I was dealing with that day. And I went down the right road. Right. I didn't go looking for Wendigos or anything like that.
Not yet.
No, I went looking for them, and but my buddy had told me, he said, set up a gifting stump. And that's what I did. I went out and he goes, you got to make friends with them or something, give them an offering. So he didn't get like detailed, and I didn't know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Italian. The first thing I think of is food. I know, probably dumb to put food in your backyard like an idiot, But the story, way the story goes is so embarrassing. Even further, I grabbed raisin oatmeal cookies. They're my favorites. My absolute favorite is a warm oatmeal raisin cookie with some hot chocolate. That's my favorite. So I go out there with a stack of them that could fit in my hand, and I'm talking to the woods. I'm like, hey, I'm going to leave these right here for you, man. So now I'm going paranormal investigator. So I start figuring out how I'm going to configure this stump and be able to tell if a bird or a squirrel, something's going to eat that, right? So right. I got these saplings on each side of it, and that way I figured if something comes up, it would knock them or something. I got cleared out around the stump. I'm doing whatever I can. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Well, a few days go by, man, and I'm like, dude didn't take my cookies, and I'm walking away from the stump, and how come no one else took my cookies? How come a squirrel, a fish, a cat, a bird? Like, why are those cookies still sitting there in Mother Nature? It's kind of weird, right? So, third day anyway. So I yell back out to the woods, hey, these are my favorite cookies, man. You're not even touching them. And I had heard them out there pretty regularly at this point. So I know they're out there, but I'm like, why aren't they eating my cookies? So I think it was like 24 to 48 hours later. I come back, cookies are gone.
Okay.
They're gone, bro. There's not a crumb. There's nothing. I got pictures of it, of like the saplings, like in the same exact spot, dude. Nothing came up from the sides. I'm crawling around like a fool looking for crumbs. You know what I mean? We could all put that together with something else, but no, not in this case. Just cookies, man. So my boy, I saw your eyes go, oh boy. But so I was like, there's nothing there. Like, seriously. Then I look down, it hits me. I don't got my gift. Right?
Oh, right.
Well, he said it was a gifted stump. You know what I mean? I'm thinking there's a, hey, I'm going to exchange. Like, we're going to exchange, right? And nothing. And the same thing happens. A couple of days go by. Finally, I yell out to the woods again, man. I didn't get a gift, My neighbors, I got one neighbor kind of close to me. He's probably pulling his shades at this point because I'm yelling.
Yeah, right.
I'm yelling out to the freaking trees, And sure enough, I come back, and it's the craziest little gift. He left me a perfectly torn piece of tree lichen. Like it was peeled off of something. It was lichen, if L-I-C-H-E-N, if you don't know what that is. I have pictures of it, all that. But he left it right between the saplings. So I walk over to the stump, and I say I don't know if it's he. So I walk over to the stump, and I'm standing there looking down, and I see this perfect piece of lichen right evenly in between these two little branches. And I'm like, what the? And I'm calculating because I have a rational side of my brain. So I'm going, all right, the wind.
Yeah, right. That's the biggest bullshit thing you've said so far.
Yeah. Well, not anymore. Not anymore. No, you should see on our live investigations, Wojo tries to convince me of things sometimes. He's like, dude, I'm telling you. And I'm like, I don't know. That could have been Superman's real, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe Batman was out, something now. I try, but it's so hard now because there's so many things that get put into your head. But anyways, there's no way a wind blew that piece of lichen face up, green up. Wasn't like sideways, perfect. I took a picture of it. That's my gift. That's the way I see it, and that's what matters. That's my gift. So,
did you take it?
Yeah, I took it. I took it and I put it in a little Ziploc bag. Don't ever do that. That's stupid. And
okay. Did it mold?
Well, it changes temperatures and breaks.
Right. Okay.
So I have a piece of dust, and I got some dust in the bag. No, not that dust. Lichen. But I did it again. I did it again around Easter time because I remember it was around Easter because it was a bag full of those orange carrot-looking M&Ms, and I put them out there. And again, brilliant, right? Come here, big whatever you are, and eat some food at my house. And when I don't put it out there, take me away. And it went on again, and then I had this nut left, and that is right here. That's one half. I think my 2-year-old threw the other half. It's just a little nut. It's hard to see, but that I was able to retain, and I'd never seen it before. And I went all around my land, and 2.5 years later, we found it out on the bank of the river, but it was all broken up like something had brought it there and ate it. I don't have that on my land. Whatever that is, I don't have. I've done pictures, Google search, everything, and they come up with like 30 different things, But it was broken perfectly in half, put where the lichen was, and like face up. So, and that's the nut. So yeah, that's one of them. The other half's over there, but it was broken. So yeah, so that started me, and then I said, okay, maybe this is a Bigfoot. Maybe this is Bigfoot. So let's do what Bigfoot people do: put a camera out that never works.
Yeah, right.
So I put that at the end of the game trail, and I'd have to go out and get the SD card. And I got to tell you, bro, sometimes I'd go out there and I'd back up and turn around and go home. I didn't get the SD card. It had that feeling, that quiet, that silence, and my body wasn't used to it yet, I guess, And I went out there this one particular time. I got the SD card. I was in a mood, so that helps sometimes when you're in a mood. So I, go out there, I'm getting my SD card. And my back's turned towards, the preserve, the big open, but the big area. And I hear this subtle kind of like that, like crunching, but it sounded low. That was one thing that stuck out to me. So I'm like, and then I heard another one, and it was kind of like to my back. It would be it always seems to be shoulder to shoulder. So my shoulder angles here, you know what I mean? I always feel like I'm the point of the triangle unless there's three. You know
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm like this. So I'm like, okay. So I get the card, and then I hear this like a snap. And it was not a snap like oopsie snap. It was kind of like to get my attention snap. You know what I mean? That's why it was loud, and I was like, and it sounded like it was up. It wasn't like it stepped on it. And I remember I turn around like this, and I kind of put my hands up again. My hands go up like this. I like kind of show my palms, right? And I don't know. I've had a lot of conversation about this since then, but I went backwards, and I could hear him. I started talking. I said, okay, I'm gonna back out now. You know what I mean? And I could hear when I moved, they would I would hear crunching. So I'm going, dude, like, are these things like intelligently like following me? Because I could be dead right now. I don't understand this. Like it was seriously mind blowing. Like, where I didn't understand what was happening. Why are they doing that? Like, why didn't they just rip me into the woods and end my life? You know, I didn't understand this stuff. I was very much a novice, you know, at this point. But I make it back. That happened again, but the last, not the last time, but this particular time I got flanked by myself at the game camera before I just took the thing down and quit. I was done with that stupid thing. And there was 3 of them. There was 1, 2 like this. The same thing happened to me. I recognized it that time. I started backing out, and I hear a crunch behind me. And I went, hey, I'm backing out. I said, but I can't move unless he moves, you know? And I kept my hands like that. And I hear this little subtle movement behind me. And I'm like, boy, I hope he's moving out of the way because I got to go. I didn't turn around and run still. I just kind of was going like this because I had to watch him. The other time, I didn't have to turn around because I know my game trail so well. You know what I mean? I just kept. But what happened was for me, and I don't know if anybody else can identify with this. When I first had that first flanking, I couldn't get my foot to move. My left foot wouldn't move. And my knee was bouncing like this. Like I had uncontrollable kind of, fear setting in where my left knee, I felt like Elvis Presley out there. It was like, I said, oh, baby, there's a Bigfoot. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was just like bouncing, and I remember looking down going, move for me. Like I had a brain to foot say, take that first step so I could go backwards. I just got goosebumps. It was just that scary. And you just I'm reliving it again right here. And are you, no, I am, no, I live in, Chinachusetts.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have to ask the Imperial King if we can have a weapon. But no,
bro, what? Hold on. Let's stop there for a second. What?
Here we go.
What are your gun laws? Like I knew they were strict, but I don't actually know them.
Yeah, it would take a lot. It takes a lot to get a gun. It takes a long time to get a gun. I run all through the 2A stuff. I can't even sit here and rehearse it at this point. It was so long. I gave up. All my guns are at my brother's place in North Carolina.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. It's not like you can just like North Carolina. You just can go down. They since have put a law in where you kind of drop your license basically, and then you get like a 2-day clearing, and you come back and pick up your weapon. You know what I mean? But here, it's all kinds of documentation. It's classes. It's documentation. You have to really, really fight, struggle to get a weapon, and then you go to other places. I think South Carolina, you buy one, you put it on your hip. It's at Walmart. You know what I mean?
So here, you can buy a rifle, and leave with it. A handgun, you got to wait 7 days.
Yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm.
But then once you get it, you don't have to register it. You can carry it now, conceal carry anywhere you want, and then when you walk in the forest, you can open carry.
Yeah.
And as long as you're not like a felon, you're good to go. Like you can have guns, It's so weird, like how state to state. That's why, like when I'm traveling, I would love to bring my pistol, but I don't want to get in trouble. I ain't trying to go to jail. You know what I mean? So I just leave the shit at the house.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Traveling. Yeah. Cause you never know what's happening. But yeah, no, it's in North Carolina. Once you get cleared, you just put it on your hip and go to the store and buy some chips. You know what I mean?
Because I tell you what, in Fall River, Massachusetts,
yes,
you definitely need a gun.
Wait. Real quick, someone asked a question if it was rural or private property. 3 acres is my property, so that part's private, and the other one is a preserve to the left and a conservation to the right. And at this time, nobody was out there. There was nothing. And then, the granola people came along and built the trail and stuff because they don't want to get their little booties wet. So, but yeah,
Right.
it's you know what I mean. But yeah, it's the gun thing is just crazy. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing is crazy. But I don't now after all these years and all the times I've been around them in a sense where I'm not hanging out with them by the fire or anything, smoking a fatty. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when I'm out there researching and I know they're there, I can hear them, I get reaction or some kind of response or whatever the case might be. Plus we have gift and chair now and 2 gifting sites actually within a 10-mile, it's actually probably a 5 to 7 mile circle. That's the advantage I have. We don't live in Alaska. We don't live in Canada. We don't live in Florida. Florida's huge, man. Oh my God. I lived down in Lakeland for a couple of years and we figured we'd take a jaunt up to Tallahassee. Yeah, that wasn't the case. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's not a jaunt. I'm sorry. Is Mom there? Okay. Sorry. Dog started wiggling.
Oh, you're all good, bud.
No, she said something about the dog. I'm like, he's not feeling good, I guess. But it's not like that here. It's a small area, and we have that advantage while we're researching. You know what I mean? So we don't have to go crazy places. And the advantage was my backyard.
Right.
We've in that yard. We've even been bluff charge. There's actually something up on my YouTube. You could say Bigfoot bluff charge, and we had that huff and everything kind of like that. That was bigger though. That was kind of because we were so close to it, and the incidences just go on. And that one particularly, actually, Wojo hit something with a thermal, and we saw it kind of move between the trees, and I could see it coming towards us. I was like, dude, is that coming our way? And all of a sudden, he just he was off the radar, and then he was like 30 feet in front of us in a group of saplings that were right there. My fence is right here, and you have like 30 feet, and then there's saplings, and in the saplings, you like a big huff, and he did it twice, and then kind of went off to the right, and it was funny because it was like that was the first time Mojo had been on my property, and it was like, what? We were freaked out, dude. We jumped backwards, and it was pretty wild, dude. We have a lot of things like that, and that one you have of the van.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Did you have that queued up, that van?
Yeah. Hey, we'll play it right now.
Yeah, and then I can explain to you guys what went on with that. Headphones. That last part, you can hear him.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it again.
Yeah. In the beginning, listen, you can hear him walk up and break something, then beat the tree, then walk away and drop whatever he broke.
Here, let me rewind it.
Yeah, go
all
ahead.
right.
Go back. Yeah, watch the beginning. Yeah, you listen, you can hear him. Right there.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty wild, dude. That
that was horrifying.
It sounds like it was
agitated,
angry,
And I'll tell you why. And that's a great assessment. I've had this conversation with people. As you could see, the big mess in my backyard. I was transferring my house over, but like I explained, and so the yard was messy. I was getting things cleaned up. I had just had something happen pertaining to that private side of my life, and I wasn't happy. And I went out to my camper to take a breather and sit down. I had my $10 cash word, bro. I was gonna go just throw a big water dip in and just scratch my time out, right? My buddies were probably gonna get on. I text them and say, hey, I'm having a bad time. Can you guys want to play some COD? That's what we were doing. So I went in there. Nobody was on yet. I started scratching my ticket, and I hear right at the edge of my property, so about 3 acres away or whatever it was. You hear this kind of bang off a tree. I hear a knock. So I remember I kind of got my attention. I said, I wonder what's going on tonight. And it had to be like 20 seconds later, dude. I hear one outside, almost where you hear that banging, but a little bit more off to would be our right. Bang off a tree. And I was like, whoa, that was quick. Either he was on, walking through the woods like motherfucker. So what happened was when I went into the camper, the camper doors, they're loud, but I slammed it behind me. And that's what everybody attributes this activity to when I tell them that part of the story. At first it took a while, like, what the hell are they talking? And then I had to replay the tape, and I was like, oh shit, I think maybe I startled them or something, whatever. I irritated them. And that's when that happened. When I heard that second knock, that's when I grabbed my phone, I stuck it out the door, and I heard him coming through the woods way better obviously than the phone. And then, like you said, you can hear it snap, take a step, and he's beating the tree. And I got pictures of that tree. I went out, I think it was a couple of days later anyways. I had to wait for a friend because I wasn't going alone. And that tree is beat to shit, bro. I mean, the dent in that bark is ridiculous.
So that's what this right here is, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's right. And there's other ones that are closer. You can see the ridge line. It looks like it was standing to our right as we're looking at this tree right now. Yep. Yeah, there you go. See that ridge line? Right above the hole in the tree? You could, whatever it did, put that type of power and I want you to go out and try that with whatever bat you want and see what you can do to bark on that type of thick old pine. Look at that. All the way down, dude. Stuff was flying. In the bottom, you can actually see just the bark falling off. On the right side of it, I don't know if I sent you the pic or not, but that's it.
Yeah.
Look at the dent in that tree, dude. That was the first shut the up. Like, he was not happy with me. And I went out and took these pictures, and then I went back to show a few buddies of mine, and I couldn't stand in front of the tree no more. They had stuff stacked in front of it. Now,
sorry, I'm kind of slow, but this was immediately after you got the knocks that we just listened to.
Yeah, that's the tree he hit. Was
okay. All right. I was just clarifying real quick.
Oh no, 100%. Yeah. Yep. And that's it. You see the trees, like right here. I'm standing in front of it, but it looks like a triangle behind it with the broken trees on the ground.
Yep.
So I'm standing in front of it right there directly. I couldn't stand there no more after that. They stacked stuff up in front of it like they were watching me take that picture. I was like, this is a learning process for me. So I'm going, okay, how come I can't stand here no more? I haven't had weather. I haven't had wind. I haven't had snow. Why are all these things in front of this tree? You know what I mean? And you look around and some of them got fresh brakes and some of them are old and picked up. And this is where I am. And I'm going, now I can't go back there. So I'm collecting data in my head, right? What is the collection of data? Anybody know?
Oh, don't ask me, bro.
A collection of data is science. I know.
Okay, yeah. See, that's a dirty word in my house. Like, you call somebody a scientist in my house when they're being stupid. That's what we say. Like, okay, scientist. You know.
You think I didn't know that? What do you think I brought? I'm going on Stacy's show. I'm going to stop poking today. No, but it was. It's just like incident after incident that you have, and you try to remember these these things that they do, these traits, you know what I mean? And you try to see them and understand them more, and you collect them in your head. And then when the next one happens, you're a little bit more prepared for it, or you're a little more understanding of it. And I remember after this, I went out to the woods and I was like, okay, I was talking calm. I don't know whatever triggered in my head just to talk to him, just to be like, yo, man, you know what I mean? I'm not a bad person, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It just was natural for me. And it was natural for me to put my hands up. And it was funny because years later, I had talked to a couple of people. We have a lot of indigenous friends that kind of guide us in their ways because we wanted to ask them, how to respect, Sasquatch, Satunga, Bigfoot, how to, do that. And it was mainly through Mother Earth. You know what I mean? And a lot of times there was one person that was on our show and they talked about showing the fingers, right? 5 fingers. I'm like you. I'm just like you. You know what I mean? And then the Ernie Davio story. I don't know if you're familiar with the Ernie Davio story, where he was face to face with one, and he had the palms out. That's the picture right here, drawn by an artist for him.
Where did that take place?
That was actually in Western Mass. That's a gentleman you should have on your show. Good friend of ours. I love the guy. We went out. We were privileged to go back to his spot after 38 years and reenact what he went through. That was out like October Mountain area in Western Mass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Vogel brothers. I don't know if you know the Vogel brothers. They're really good friends of ours too, man. We love those guys, man. We've been researching with them, and they're like brothers. But they've all Tim Vogel, myself, Paul Frazier from Western Ohio. Western Ohio Bigfoot Research. We went out there and with Ernie and Wojo and just went all. It was a hike in there, man. It was a hike in there. Like I was like, damn, dude, you walked all this way, you know. But he was hunting, and he could tell you the story. And he was face to face with one, and they use hand signals and hand language. You know what I mean? What they believe is language. So, but it was natural for me to go like this. I don't know, but put your hands up. It seemed pretty logical, doesn't it? As a human, like, okay, if something's reacting to me intelligent, you know, I'm not going to go, okay, kitty. You know, I got my hands up like, hey, we're good. You can see my hands, you know. That's what I was thinking, and lo and behold, it probably helped me, you know, throughout this process, you know.
So you sent me a really cool one. Explain this guy?
You know, it's funny. We just had a conversation about this. This is behind that right there is the edge of my property line.
Okay,
we're out there researching. Me and this local author. She writes about the Bridgewater Triangle and stuff. And we come around the corner here and I find this big suspended tree and it looked really weird. Like it was threaded between other trees. So doing a picture of me in front, I go, oh, check this out. Thing's like 12 feet in the air. And I'm like this, big smile. And she goes, hey man, turn around. And I turn around and that's what is in front of my face. I'm like, what is that? So if you go up to it, it's about, I'd say, I don't know. It's hard to estimate the height of the tree, but safely say 40-foot high tree, right? If you stood that thing up. Now, mind you, on the left side, it goes a little bit further and it's held down by trees about this big. You know what I mean? I got a bunch of other pictures of it as well. So and we've been to the site many times. Well, the peak of that arch is about 12 feet up. The circumference of that tree is like 14 to 16, I think we measured. And that thing's not broken, man. That thing's pulled down and held. But then you start seeing all these other things, almost like a wagon wheel. I call it a dream catcher. Some people have said a wagon wheel. So yeah. I'm standing in front of this thing and basically on my property, frozen, like, oh my God, like, what is that? Now, I've been interested in structures, don't get me wrong, for a long time. It's things that don't make sense to me get my critical mind going. And what I learned to do was start at 100% weather. No questions asked, 100% weather. And then I start minusing that percentage. And when I get around 50%, I start questioning things. So as I'm looking at this, the other tree that's there is like, you know, it's 100 years old and dead that's laying on top of this, which would help more. But again, I wasn't a great researcher back then. I was a guy walking through the woods trying to figure shit out. But even so much as 5 years ago. So, now 6, I guess. But yeah, so this is what it was. So I'm researching it and I come across this book. And now I'm not saying this is a Bible or anything. I'm just saying I don't know nothing about this book. Nothing. So when I see it, I go, oh my God, it's called A Field Guide to Sasquatch Structures. Just so happens there is one. What? You know what I mean? What are you talking about, bro? How do you know? I never see Bigfoot build this shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've never watched, oh, sorry, Bigfoot, you making another structure? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bother you. You know, and he's got the artist apron on like Bob Ross or something. You know, I never seen that. I'm never ever going to say that. But that's not weather. And that, if you could put me on the big screen.
Yeah. Hold on. All right. I ain't got no producer, Richie. Yeah. So it's just a one-man show. I'm not like you. I ain't got a producer stepping in and doing shit. So you can't just bark out orders, bro.
Stacy taking shots at me. But that's what was on the cover of the book. But to me, I'm going, holy shit, that look very similar. This book was 2016. That structure's 21.
Oh wow. Yeah, that I thought when you sent the picture of the book, I thought that was a picture from the structure.
No, man, that's my backyard, bro. And this guy had this book out in 2016. I found that structure in 21.
Oh wow.
So, again, I'm trying to put things together. I'm not just going, oh, it's Bigfoot. Bigfoot this and Bigfoot that. That ain't what this is, man. I'm going, okay, I have that. That must mean something to somebody. I'm sorry. That's way too. I just put it in my Bigfoot. I'm sorry, Banter Richie B live messenger. I got a ton of critical thinkers in there. So I said, hey, look at this guy's comment from whatever year it was. I think it was 24. And he says, well, that's pretty rudimentary and easy to build. And I'm like, okay, bro. And then one guy goes, oh, that's a bunch of kids. And I'm like, wow, kids with an engineering degree and a come along. That's awesome.
You know what it looks like to me? It looks like witchcraft symbols.
Oh, I know it looks like that to you, bro. And I'm not saying it doesn't. It's definitely got a Blair Witch vibe to it, bro.
Yeah, bro. Like, I mean, and you're up there. See, the thing, I wouldn't normally bring that up, but you're in the Northeast. And I'm not saying witches would do it, but I don't think you got witches roaming your property, but that symbol looks a lot like some of those symbols you will see in the kind of shit that they do around up there, So I wonder if maybe the Bigfoots up there haven't, because I often wonder if the Bigfoot in general didn't pick up on like the local native languages. Right? Like the ones in my area would possibly have known like Creek or Seminole language just by living with them for so long, and what were the natives called? Where you live, the
Wampanoag?
Wampanoag, yeah. What's to say they wouldn't have picked up something from them? And then what's to say they wouldn't have picked up on certain types of congregations that met in the woods in the 1600s and stuff up there.
Yep, and we've had this conversation, and you're right on cue with our research. We feel that there is that touch, right? Someone mentions runes. We've studied runes as well. We have asterisks and things like that in these woods, and we study every angle. That's why I created this messenger to where I could throw these people in there that are brilliant, man, brilliant. And they just start going at it, man. Oh, you know what that looks like? Like what that gentleman said. That looks like a rune. Well, now we all come in with pictures of runes, and we're going through. It's awesome, and that's what I thought was best for the research. And when you speak with like Elder Medicine Bear Claw, right? William Nighthawk, what's up? Oh, he's going night. He's going to sleep. Who else said my name there? Bryce. Hey, Bryce, what's up? Bryce Edwards, man. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, and you talk to a few others. They feel the same way, and if you think about it, a lot of people say, oh, that Bigfoot looked like this and that Bigfoot looked like that. Well, yeah, we all look different. Imagine that. You got to start considering that. So why wouldn't you have a language that was adapted to your area? Someone just said to me, go learn the language of the natives, the ancient natives of your land. And it was like 2 weeks ago, I just started collecting little Wampanoag words, like even hello or friend, or, like we have other ones like a koi, tanse, we have different things that we say that Elder has taught us, Elder Medicine Bear Claw. She's on YouTube as well, guys. You can check her out. She has a lot of good insight from the Blackfoot tribe, and all over. But she helps us, you know what I mean? She'll even send us like medicine bags and tobacco that's blessed by the elders. And we offer that, you know what I mean? We just try anything as peaceful as we can, and seems to get a lot of results, but you're right on with that. And we're going out tomorrow, and you know that I've been practicing this word, and I'm going to try to say it because I don't want to say it, not here, but I'll say it right before I go in the woods. I'll practice it. You know what I'm saying? So you remember it, because I'll screw it all up, and I could be saying something else and then get killed.
Well, okay. So, but yeah, definitely. When I first looked at that, I was like, shit, I might have turned and left if I'd have seen that.
Yeah, I was pretty frozen for a while, man. It freaked me out.
That's wild.
But I know my woods too, you know what I mean? My land, I went off of my land a little bit, but I didn't go crazy out to the river forever. That was a long walk, and those woods were thick. You know what I mean? So I was like,
yeah, it's something that I didn't expect from the woods of Massachusetts, that for it to be thick. And it's not It's not thick like here, right? Like it's a different thickness here.
Yep.
But y'all don't have these palmettos or these like vines and shit growing all over it, make it look like a jungle. But you'll have big trees and then a bunch of like small trees that are just hard to kind of get through.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was very cool going to Massachusetts, but this is the ice track right here, I take it.
Yeah, well that's the original print that we found, but it wasn't just one. So what happened was we had a flash freeze. So it was kind of warm, it was cold out, and then ice froze, and then it started thawing, and then we had a flash freeze. So we're out in our research zone, like I said, 1, 2, 3 times a week even. We know everything about this place. And again, it's not Alaska or British Columbia. We have an advantage. So we're out there all the time. We're going out again tomorrow. And we were just out Sunday. So we're going out again. So Darren, a member of our team that I had mentioned earlier, Darren, we're up in this area we call a college because all the trees are just shattered. It's crazy over there. And he's like, hey, guys, come here. And as we're coming down, he says, I think I found a print. And he's kind of new to this. And he's saying that. And I'm like, and he's real reserved dude. So he isn't like, well, I get down to this little swamp area. And you could see a bunch of those. There's small tracks, right? But towards the edge, there's these splashes of like 14, 16, like all around the edges. And you can make out that it's, you're not getting toes, but you could see that it's just all torn up. So we're like, what in the hell is this? So then I get in there and I use a thing called Scaniverse. I don't know if everybody's familiar with that app. Get a Scaniverse. It's SCANI verse, all one word, Scaniverse. Get that app because you can kind of test things out, right? And so I was in there with the Scaniverse, and you could see little toes in there. And I'm like, okay, we got to cast this. Now we never casted a cast on ice before. And I said to Woj, there's got to be some kind of an effect from the heat of what we're using dental bone. So, of course, we call the Vogels. We start doing research while we're standing there. And really the trick that worked awesome was sprinkling snow in it as it was curing. So it takes a little bit. You're there for like 10 minutes, sprinkling. And that's what you do. And then you got to kind of leave it behind once it sets up. And the funny part is we went back, got the hammer and chisel. Because how do you get it out of here? It's still cold. We're like, shit, it's still cold. And we didn't want it to melt because we didn't know how deep this little swamp was either. So it's like, we got a conundrum here. So we get over there and we can't get it out with what we have. We have to leave it there again, go back home and come back a couple days later with a blowtorch. So I have video. Now, mind you, we're on YouTube Live. So this print is found while we're walking around on YouTube Live. It's casted while we're walking around on YouTube Live. It's being taken out of the ice on YouTube Live. You're watching this. People on the side right here are all people that watch, and they're like family to me now. They're watching this. So that's one thing I wanted, to keep all the the bullshit out of the picture, out of the equation. So if there's any question, you can just go watch and see for yourself and have. I'm never going to tell anybody a way to think, and please don't tell me to do it either. It's just not right. Think what you want. Take what we present to you and make of it what you will. We just hope that it makes you curious, at least to kind of hang out and do some more researching with us, because we love it. So we get this print out, and I said, oh my God, dude, we flip it over, and it's 8 inches long, right? But it's like 3 to 3.5 wide at the bottom. So my foot as a grown man with an 11.5 foot has a 3 1/4 heel.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a distinct figure here. There's a distinct thing here besides the nubs. You can see the nubs, but look at that crease line that comes out of the big toe.
Oh yeah, right down through the middle.
Yeah, look at your foot.
Right.
You got one too. All right, and there's no. Look at that. I love this thing. You can actually see the bone in it on the right big toe. You can see the bone, like the bone in it. Where it's bending up. You can see the pressure where the bones be. Like imagine your foot being like this, and the skin is stretched. You're gonna get some bone in there. So it's pretty wild, man. And we're just so proud of this one. We have it right here. And what we believe was happening. Yeah, there's the toe angle on the side. And then you follow up that crease in the middle. Mind you, YouTube Live, man, go check it out. You'll see us find this, see us cast this, everything. We all find it together. You see what we see, you hear what we hear. So get on your headphones, big screen TV, be part of the team. Don't shit on anybody because we got moderators that just throw you right out and we don't want you back. So just sit in the background and be curious if you have questions or you just feel something nasty to say. You know what I mean?
Right.
Call your local politician and do that. Get it out of your system. That seems to be the thing these days. You know what I mean?
Hey, right here at the bottom of this track, what we're looking at, that would be where the toes are at, correct?
The one, closest to us. Yeah, down bottom.
Down the bottom is the toes. Yeah. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so you can actually see the slush splashed from the toe splash, right? So you got the heel. I always believe because of the way their legs move, as we know, we got that tightrope, right? Or that clothesline, that the heel kind of comes down and the toe splashes. And that's why you get that little bit of widening at the top. Not just because their toes are wider like ours at the top, but it's extra wide. And that's what you get, a little separation, a little toe splash. At least from all the ones that we have found, we seem to think that. You know what I mean? But there's distinct features in this that you could see, you can see the wrinkles in the skin. You could see the line coming out of the big toe, like I mentioned. You could see the toe, the bone, like I said, from the stress of it kind of curling up and probably going to take the next step and dragging that slush with it, and that's the way you got to kind of picture it, And what we believe was happening was Mama was on the edge of this little swamp area, like, get the hell out of there, And the little dude was kind of running around. And it coincides with our research because we have different size prints, how we identify what's going on in the woods. 14 by 7, 16 by 8. You know what I mean? Then you got 18 and a half by, he splashes at like a 22, but 18 and a half usually by 8. So you got, mom, dad. You got the bigger juvenile, which is the older brother, 14 by 7. And then this guy's pretty recent. So, and now we saw it goes 10. It was like 10, 5, 12, 6. You can almost see him growing up just by the cast. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool like that. It's a lot of fun because it's really good, thorough research. And it's kind research. We go out in the woods. We respect Mother Earth. We respect each other. We try to leave our bad moods at home, things like that. And we've gotten a lot of amazing results from that. The gifting chair is an amazing thing. Constantly having to recycle it. Peanut butter, not in my backyard this time, guys. Peanut butter with a stick. Peanut butter washed out like a dishwasher. I see a lot of that around the country right here. And I probably have 100 jars of peanut butter in my studio / research area. We actually have a 7-foot by 8-foot green screen where we can swing it around and I become like a weatherman and point out all the details of pictures that way. And it's been very beneficial for my audience because I want them to see what we're seeing. And I felt they weren't getting what they deserved, for their dedication. And I'm at my basement and it's a cement wall. We painted it with green screen paint. So when we swing it around, man, that thing's huge, and I have a little stick and I just say, this is what I'm seeing. Are you guys seeing that? And then they carry on with what they see. So it's a great way to do it. It's really about being thorough with the research, being respectful to your fellow researcher, not shitting on people if you don't believe what they're saying. That's fine. Just shut it. I think
there's so much of that. Like,
it sucks.
Part of me is a troll. Okay. So I'm just going to say that I used to prank call people. Like, me and my friends would do this shit. Like,
oh yeah, me too, bro.
We would do it to where my buddy would like mumble a name. And I remember one time he was calling this guy and he's like, "Hey man, how you doing, man?" And he goes, the guy's waking up and he's like, "Who is this?" He's like, it's Pete, man. And he goes, "Pete Osmond?" And he's like, "Yeah, Pete Osmond, man. It's Pete Osmond." And he goes, "Well, what are you calling me this late for?" And he's like, "Well, I wanted to go fishing. Can you want to get the boat ready? And I'll be by there about 5:30. And it's like 3:30 in the morning. And the guy's like, "Yeah, I'll get up in about an hour and get it ready. You just be here by 6, okay?" That was me growing up, right?
Yeah.
Like, and still today I like to troll people, but there's a difference in trolling and then like some of the shit these people say.
Oh, dude, it's so bad. It's so bad. You know, like I don't mind the Family Guy comment dude made, Backwoods makes, because I hear that. I sound like Peter Griffin, everybody says. Lois! How's that? Is that good? Right? I'll play along. So this is the beautiful part about this. I shut my mouth because of this for years. I didn't say nothing. I said nothing. I had kids growing up in this house. I didn't want to deal with the ridicule. I didn't want people coming to that place. You know, nothing. I said nothing, and that's why. And I finally let a member of the 4-letter people come in, and we had an amazing experience where we could hear the vocalization talking back and forth. It was crazy. It was awesome. And after that, I was a little rejuvenated, but I didn't want to say nothing to nobody. I still didn't. And then not to bring everybody down, but in 2022, my little baby Jack was born stillborn, and I lost him. And that changed my life, bro. I came home. I was in a fetal position for months, dude. Months. I just couldn't move, man. I was the provider. I couldn't move. And I could almost hear him say, Dad, you got to get up. Dad, you got to get up. And I'm like, you know, when you sit there and you hold a little baby, like I held him like I did all my other kids. I sang to him and everything, Stacy. You know what I mean? And like all my kids have a song. Jack has his song. I sang that song to him. And I loved him like that moment, like every other child that came in at that moment. You know what I mean? So there was nothing different. And today there's nothing different. He's so powerful in my life. And I said, you know what, man? He said, you know, I could hear him go, follow your passion. And I'm thinking, what does he mean? You know, tell him your story. I kept hearing, tell him your story. I'm like, tell my story. The only story that I'm an open book, man. I don't hold back. I tell you like it is. But the only story I kept was this, you know, because of the bullshit that you deal with, because I don't want to react. I don't want a confrontation now. I'm an older man. I'm not the 14-year-old kid who lived on the streets no more. I don't want none of that shit.
Right.
So when I lost baby Jack, though, I became bulletproof, man. I became bulletproof, and I don't give up what you're saying about me. I don't care what you tell me, what I think I saw. Ask me what I'm smoking. I don't give a shit. There's nothing you could do to me. I held a baby in my arms that was mine, that wasn't breathing. There's nothing you can do to me. So I have another advantage over other researchers. I have thick skin. You can't do nothing. You can't touch me. So it does. If you've never felt that pain, then shut up. You're wasting your time. Save your breath. You know what I mean? So that was something. And then I said, you know what? I said to my friend, I said, she's into like tech stuff and everything. I said, I want to start a podcast. And she's like, your personality's perfect. Let's go. And she said all this crazy shit up within 48 hours. I'm like, what do I do now? She's like, talk to the camera. And there it was, you know, my big mouth and my personality came out. And like we talked before the show, it was therapeutic for me. You know, I felt good for the first time since losing Jack. I had that moment where I could just breathe and try to build again, you know, inside. And that's what I did. And that's what this story is about. This story is about my son lifting me up from heaven and guiding me and saying, pushing me. And this is my therapy. So I have a lot of fun talking. I laugh a lot. I joke a lot. I'm vulgar at times. You know what I mean? And I enjoy it, man. And the people on the side that are following me, man, and my friends and family now that are in the Bigfoot Banter with Richie B family, I love you guys. You know I do. And they know the story, man. You know, they know the story. And it's been an amazingly powerful spiritual journey. I just think if you get out there and you just be respectful, right? You be respectful to Mother Earth, to these things. Remember the woods when we were kids? We just ran around in the woods. They were fun.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? Yeah, nobody's doing that shit no more. They're too busy tearing them down. They're too busy in front of a screen. When I get out in those woods, man, I'm just like, whoosah, you know, like, let's go. This is a great time. And I think because of that, we've gotten really positive spiritual results that a lot of people can't grasp. And I'm okay with that. I don't give a shit. It doesn't bother me. I'm bulletproof, you know?
Well, you know, here's the thing. Like, in light of recent developments, it appears the Patterson-Gimlin film is fake. From what I'm hearing, it's fake.
I knew you were going to bring this up tonight.
But, you know, and the reason I bring it up, that's what you said, that, okay, so for years, we've all been looking for Bigfoot based off of it being an ape, based off of that footage. And I think maybe now the Bigfoot community can have a reset because, hey, like all the things that were learned from the Patty footage, the mid-tarsal break, all that stuff, that may all not be true, right? And so I think we could sit back and maybe, hopefully, this time when the ball starts moving forward, we're moving more in a direction of what maybe the Native Americans said, maybe more of a spiritual kind of, movement, as opposed to this looking for this smart ape, because y'all been looking for this smart ape over 60 years doing the same exact things.
Hey, don't you say you all, man. I was on Gigantopithecus for 7 days tops, all right, bro? Don't you say you all.
but you know what I mean? And you've gotten nowhere.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like the ball hasn't moved at all, so maybe it's time to look at it. If it does indeed turn out to be a hoax, maybe it's time to look at it a different way, because I'll tell you that spirit, there's something to the spiritual thing. Like I believe my encounter was God putting me on a different path. And I didn't know that at the time. But dude, I was in a rock band. I'm doing blow. I'm like, drinking all the time and partying and shit. You know what I'm saying? And my band had gotten nice size. We had people come to our shows to see us. It was fucking crazy, right? But I wasn't about to be a rock star and live through it, because I wasn't a rock star yet, and I was already in the partying for days.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And then this Bigfoot thing come along, and my dad got sick.
Yeah, God bless.
My dad gets back better, and we get the footage. You know what I mean? And then life becomes more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's why, looking back on it, it's like, man, I think there was like a higher power put me on a different path that day.
You give me goosebumps, because we live the same life. We've had this talk. If you, I know you talk to a lot of people, bro. I got clean and sober in September 21st, 1997.
Yeah.
And this is a spiritual journey, bro. It's saving your life, bro, because that's in us. That stuff is in us. It's always there. It's always in us. And I had a spiritual awakening.
Always there, brother. That shit is like a devil sitting on my shoulder.
Hell yeah, bro. But look at you, man. I love this stuff. I love you're right on, man. And the research for me is teaching me things about life. I'm not out there looking for an ape, guys. I'm just not. It's to me, it's not. It's the first human. You got to go think that way. They're on a different frequency than us. That's okay. You all complain about blurry pictures. You ever gone ghost hunting? That's called frequency, and they're all blurry. So just chill with that, because psychics and mediums that you go to ask about, where your mama is in heaven, say, like my mama. I love you, mama. You know what I mean? And you go to them. Well, guess what? They're right there in front of you. They're human, and they're on different frequency. Hello?
Yeah, we've actually got because we're pulling out all stops, but I got a psychic coming out, because I did a ghost hunt a few weeks ago in Sale, Alabama, at the old courthouse. And so I had a psychic there, and there was like 30 people that we were, taking on expedition through this place, and had a hell of a night. But this psychic, he was able to, bro, he had 2 grown-ass women crying.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? About the things he was telling them that only they knew, right? It blew my fucking mind, dude. And I've seen it happen before. Miss Phyllis, she'll do that. Phyllis Cesar, I think is how you pronounce her last name, but she's great at it as well. And I'm like, damn, I'm going to try to get this guy out to the Bigfoot property. Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, why not?
What the fuck do I got to lose? Right?
Yeah, I've done it. Susan Ahern, the happy medium, she's become a friend of mine. She's a producer. Her and Daniel Groom, and they came and interviewed me and Wojo for, this documentary that they're making. And she's come out in the woods with us, dude. And she has guided me in so many ways. And one of the ways is through mediumship. And another not so well-known fact about me is that I have that. I've had it my whole life. I watched this lady in my room. You know, that's how I got into the paranormal stuff. I was 7, 8 years old. She was in my room. You know, anyways, long story with that stuff. But now I have these people put in my life, bro. And I got to tell you, even since you were on my show, if I may say this, I could tell everything's changing for you. I could tell it, dude. You're down here now. Right? You're right. Could you feel it? You're down here now, right? And you're just kind of going, man. You're just kind of going. Before it was like, I got to make everything happen. You know,
yeah, you know, because like shit, I was working 7 days a week before I started this show, and then I was working for some guy, and I'm like, you know what? I'll fucking start an OnlyFans before I work another day for this guy. You know. And I just went in. I said, fuck it, quit the job. I was like, I'll go back to Ubering. It'll work out. It'll work out. My daycare's slap ass full. We can't even have no more kids if we wanted to, and everything's going well.
Yep.
And it's just that whole spiritual side, Bigfoot aside, it's like God will help you if you get up off the couch. Like, because everybody's got dreams that I think about, or at least I think everybody's got dreams, and you know they're afraid to fail. I think people are afraid to fail, but hey, I promise you, you take that jump, you're gonna fucking glide.
Yeah, there's a saying in AA. Not to throw out. Well, yeah, AA. It worked for me. That's all I can tell you. But I'm going to tell you something right now. My sponsor looked at me and says, "Dude, you got to get up and move and do the work." Yeah, you're kind of bitching me out a little bit, you know. He says, "I'm going to tell you something right now." He goes, "God will steer the boat, but God don't roll. He don't roll that boat." He goes, "Get off your ass and start rowing."
Yeah, he'll make sure that boat stays afloat.
Just keep rowing. Woohoo! Right?
Yeah.
Let the big guy handle that shit. Let the big guy handle that shit. And I got to tell you something. And since we're on this path here, because I think this conversation is right here. This conversation compared with the Bigfoot talk, it's all the same, people. I'm telling you right now. And that's why I say don't go shitting on people. There's enough of that. You want that crap? Go to a political channel and do that. That's all that garbage. Everybody stabbing each other. Who gives a shit, man? It ain't going to affect you. And same with the Gimlin film, right? It's history. It'll break my heart, all that stuff. But it doesn't affect my research. I'm way beyond that. You know, no, I'm not saying better than. My research is advanced way beyond that. And I got to tell you, man, my boy Denny, right? I have an episode that you guys should check out, right? Denny's Divine Army. That's the name of the episode. This guy I had never met apparently was seeking me out through Bigfoot. His daughter, Ella, died of pediatric cancer. She's 10 years old. And he talks about he's a beloved brother of mine now, okay? But I didn't know he was seeking me out, dude. He was getting guidance. This is what he told me. I'm getting guidance from my daughter, basically. And you know, at first you're like, what? And then he starts piecing it together, and he talks about my son Jack, that he went to all these different psychics, world-renowned ones. One, Maureen Hancock, who's world-renowned, was talking about this boy with the J that was hanging around with his daughter. And he had all these events that pointed him to, you got to watch that episode, to me. And I'm up at I'm over at the Cobble Mountain Critter Fest put on by the Vogel brothers out in Western Mass, kick ass, by the way. And he comes rolling up. And he goes, "Hey, what's up, Richie and Wojo?" And he's got one of my shirts on. I said, "Hey, what's up? What's your name?" And he's like, "Oh, you know, Denny O, you know." And I went, "Holy shit, I remember your name on the side, you know." Well, we go out. I'm like, "Come on up here," you know what I mean? "Get up here, you know. Let's go meet all the speakers and the Vogels." He's like, "Oh, really? Let's go." So we do that. Well, we become closer. I want you to come out to our research area with us. So we leave after research, and he's blown away, right? Excuse me. He says to me, "I got to talk to you." I said, "What? What's up, bro?" And he tells me the story I just told you. He goes, "I believe my daughter crossed your son over." I said, "What the?" I'm blown away. Well, what's happening here? You know what I mean? So my point to this is, with what you said, Stacy, you're right on again. You're getting that spiritual vibe where you're feeling that you're right where you're supposed to be, right? You're okay with your skin, your feet are under you, you're rowing your boat, right? And here I am. I go, how? I'm just looking for Bigfoot. How did this beautiful spiritual story hit me?
Right.
And he's telling me his story about how he's trying to find me. What? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's Ella's Army, everybody. Go check that out. And prayers for Ella on Facebook. We do donations and fundraisers for her. And for pediatric cancer awareness, by the way. And they have a foundation where they raise money and they help the parents that have to go care for their kids. They help them with their bills and stuff, But imagine that. So now we're a part of that, and I was just looking for Bigfoot, bro.
That's it. Like I was just looking for Bigfoot, and the situations and the people I've met and the people that I'm now friends with, it blows my mind. You know what I mean? I've made great friendships through Bigfooting, and it just seems like it's done nothing but make my life better. Right.
Right. That's right.
And
you had a different angle on that on my show. Where the space you were in, you had a different angle on that. You weren't so sure about if it was making your life better. You were like, every time Bigfoot comes around, somebody it has some shit happen to him, right? Remember that?
Oh yeah. I believe I left your show saying I believe Bigfoots were probably demons.
That's what you said. Yes, I didn't bring it up. I wanted you to.
Yeah. At this point, I don't know. I think that I still think there's something like spiritual to them. And I think one of the areas we go to is really bad. Like something negative is there, right? And I think maybe that thing that's negative maybe shows itself as a Bigfoot, or not that I've seen it because I haven't, but when I say shows itself, like manifests with knocks or like a silhouette, you know what I mean? Things of that nature. But this is also a place where I can go out there almost every single time and call the orbs up. Right. And I've never had that I know of. I've never had like a telepathic experience, but I took Survivor Man out there in November. And he had 2 telepathic experiences, one in Oregon and then one in Tennessee at Scott Carpenter's place. But he had his third out there at my place, and he's like, "What you're messing with here ain't good."
That's what Les Stroud felt.
Yeah, because I guess he heard it as some kind of female, like a yes, come this way. You know what I mean? And that's what he was kind of hearing. And the weird thing about it, here's the weird thing. He says something to me, and we're in the car ride on the way home, and his cameraman brings up something similar.
Oh, my God.
And, like, their cameras all died out at once, and these are, like, world-class cameramen.
World-class, yeah.
I mean, they're running with Survivor, man. And they're like, this has never happened. We don't know what's going on. These batteries were just fine. And then they walked off, and the fucking cameras came back on. And then they came back. It's just stuff like that, spending too much time at that spot can makes a lot of things feel negative. But since I've met you, or, since I was on your podcast, it's been a night and day difference.
Yeah, I could feel it, dude. I'm telling you, I noticed. That's why I said it earlier in the show. I'm happy for you, man. And I think you guys are right on. We got to remember, there's other things in the woods. The land has energy. There's things that happened there many, many years ago that we don't even document. So to hear something like that, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's possible. I have other footage where we did a cross combo type investigation where I had a paranormal investigator come out to my land. And we did a Bigfoot paranormal investigation together. And we got EVPs. We got intelligent response through the dead bell and Bigfoot and things like that. So there's other things out there. When we go out there, we kind of get locked on to Bigfoot. We lock on to what we're doing. But we have to understand there's other things out there. You know what I mean? You tell Les I said that, all right? Tell him to relax. Don't be scared no more.
Oh, yeah. He didn't think it was anything Bigfoot. And so, like, that place where I go, they discovered this new site. They call it the Page Ladson site. And so what that does is rewrites where Americans were, because it's the oldest like archaeological site in North America.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And so they didn't know that humans were doing these kind of things this far back, and they didn't really know they were in this area, I guess, at that time. But you have all that, and then you have the slave canal that was built through there. And the slave canal is exactly what it sounds like. Slaves built this canal, and in the heat, in the summertime, the mosquitoes, the dehydration, when they died, they just put them in there.
Oh, God, dude.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of history on this property that we research, but we see a lot of orbs. We have a lot of Bigfoot activity. And then there's moments where we're all kind of just terrified. There's like a feeling of dread that comes over your body. But it looks like there's more than one thing we're dealing with out there.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that 100%. And you got to, it's all, you got to, this sounds crazy. Set your intentions, people. Set your intentions. Go out there and put it all away, man. Don't bring the bills out there with you. Don't bring the argument with the wife out there with you. Don't bring the bratty kid failing. None of that out there with you, man. This is your time. This is your time. Make it your time. It's just you. So you got to get all that off you, man. You really do. There's something to say. I did paranormal investigating, and you talk about it. You did it too. You cannot go into these places with dark energy. Guess what's going to come and see you? Dark energy, man. So just whoosah. I went out there. I was in a rush. I was running. I was waiting for Wojo. I said, well, I can't bring this out there with me. I grabbed my sage, man. I started going. I was saging my ass. I was like, just blowing it away. And we had a great investigation. And the other day I did the same thing, and I was just so connected, and it was amazing, dude. It was so amazing. We get shit thrown at us. We have whoops that were just whoop, whoop, whoop. There was this.
Now, do y'all experience any of the orbs out there?
I don't know. So I don't believe they're orbs. I have pictures of lights that basically YouTube don't want me showing because there's substance behind the lights. So it's a solid light. And there's stuff behind it. It's really hard to explain. We put it up on the big screen here. We've brought it up on the where I really get in depth and we look at it, and there is something behind these lights, and they're intelligent lights. They're bright lights. Orbs to me, when I did paranormal research, you were see through or whatever. You could they kind of move around. These were like they kind of just sit there, and then when you can I literally said to him, can you make your light go dim? It went dim. Can you make your light go bright? It went bright, and then shut Wojo's phone off, and it was just a camera. He wasn't even online. So if you go on like my TikTok and stuff like that, I do shorts of those things, and people are like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Dude, I think I woke up some star people or something. I don't know what we brought in, but there's something else out there, like you're saying." And the whole woods light up, and everybody on the side will tell you that. And if you go on, it's right there on YouTube Live, man. Call me what you will. Just go on YouTube Live. It's encrypted, being filmed live at the moment. You're with me. You know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons why I did that. Because I want to document too. It's important that we document properly, because when I'm dead and gone, I want this information passed on to the next researcher that, that's worthy. Right.
Right.
But the floating orbs like that, no, the staring colors and, solid substance type lights, we see them all the time. And if you want to see those, again, go over to my YouTube channel and you could check them out, dude. I don't even know if I could pull any up here, and all your people would probably leave anyways. Like,
well, with the orbs that we see, we can't film them. My buddy, like if we point a camera at them, they just go away. But my buddy, and I got a video on my site. Now, if I thought we were going to talk about this, I'd have loaded it. If he did a selfie, it would be behind him. But the second he turned that camera facing it, and he wasn't there, that damn thing would just go out of the way. Wow. But he was able to put this thing up like kind of like Survivor Man does when he's filming himself, and he could see the orb in the little viewfinder, and that was the only way we've been able to record him. Because dude, I'm serious when I say this. There's been nights when there was like 500 of them.
Wow. Yeah.
And they're not fucking fireflies. Like, they're coming up to you. You can tell. Like, I could have probably grabbed them. I was scared to touch them because a couple of people that I know that did touch them, they got eat up with cancer and passed away within 2 years.
I've heard that story before, not just from you. There's a 2-year timeline on that. I've heard that story, dude. That's why when you see me on the live, he's doing this. He's kind of going, like, coming towards me. I said, Wojo, why is that thing moving towards me? You already can hear the panic in my voice all of a sudden. I don't want that thing near me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we also think that with these ones that we're dealing with, they can project their light, right? They can move it. They're like 60 feet away, but they look like they're 20. And the light stays exactly the same. Dude, it's wild. I'm telling you, you got to watch some of those videos. They're nuts. Listen, I'm sitting there trying. They weren't always there. We've been in this research area 2 years next month. 2 years steady, going in there, pounding it away 1, 2, 3 times a week. Boom. You know what I mean? So we know every inch of this. We know, and it's right down the street from my house. I know when there's weather. I know when there's snow. I know when to account for structures in that way. I know every inch of that place. Wojo does as well. And my audience knows that. And we go in there constantly, man. And then all of a sudden, it was like, I don't know, maybe a year and 4 months, whatever it is. There's a light. And we're like, oh, is that a watcher? You know, you hear about the watcher, right? Well,
yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, like you said, it wasn't 500, but it got more and more and more. You know, first it was like, oh, one over there. Is that blue? Oh my God, it's like greenish yellow, like it's glowing with flames. You know, you look at all these things. And then all of a sudden, one night we're up there and the whole backdrop lit up. And there was these green little like wisps floating around. It was wild, dude. And we got it all on video. We got close-ups of the pictures of them. It's absolutely nuts, dude. And I did not expect any of this. And to be honest with you, like Wojo was talking about, I'm like, dude, we're not bringing that up. Don't bring that up. Don't bring that up. I got to research it more. I don't understand what's happening. Don't bring that. Like, I was just like, don't bring it up yet. You know, because I want to research. You know, I want to find out what's going on. I'm a rational thinker. It is in there. It's just that when you're dealing with this stuff, there's nothing rational about it. You're like, what the hell is happening?
So people would probably think I'm out of my mind because I'm so all over the place when I'm out there. Like, so I'll have my spirit box with me. I'll have my EMF reader. I'll have my REM pod. I'll have my thermal. I'll have my things to do wood knocks just in case I'm going to. And I'll bring my singing bowl and I'll play a Tibetan singing bowl. And that's usually how I set my intentions, you know. And then all those gadgets and shit I brought, I never even get them out of the damn backpack. I just end up sitting there on my butt and waiting.
Yep.
You know, I just go get to a spot in the woods and I'll wait. Now, unless I'm like tracking, looking for tracks or something. But if I was to go out tonight, I would pull my truck up. I get out the truck. I play the singing bowl, and then I just sit there and listen.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, because you're not going to go out and chase them down. You're not going to go out and find them. You have to let them come to you. And that's how I choose, as if I was playing music or something, my way of doing it now, of giving them something to make them curious, is that singing bowl, you know, and it kind of sets a better intention than we used to play like White Zombie and shit. And right. You don't really want that mood of yeah, you don't want to set that mood with an alpha Sasquatch. So
you got it right. We do the same thing. We have music playing, especially when Denny comes out, man. He'll come out. He's got the sage going, you know, and we'll bring a Duraflame because we're way out in the woods, so we'll burn a little bit of, try to bring them in a sense, right? And then we play some music. We have a nice indigenous music that we play, and we do all those things that you're talking about. One thing that we use is we find pretty vital is an ovulus, and I don't know if you have an ovulus, but bring one with you if you do, and we get the words.
I have ovaries.
Oh, okay. Was it the same type of thing?
Ovaries?
Oh,
yeah. You have ovaries. I have ovaries. So.
Oh, you talk to a doctor about that? Oh, okay. All right. You headed out to a protest. All right, I'll get going now. My bad. Sorry, guys.
I gotta dye my hair purple. Jeez.
You can do whatever the hell you want, man. I still accept you. Relax. You know what I mean? I don't care. It don't bother me, right? I'm looking for Bigfoot. If I walk up a purple Bigfoot, then we might have some problems. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, how bad would that suck? You walk up on a purple Bigfoot and it starts bitching at you about women's rights. It's like, bro, what the fuck is going on?
I think it was 1987 and I was on 2 hits of Grateful Dead acid. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that'll happen. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you, the Ovilus, you'll get words. It said my son's name a few times. You know what I mean? It's great. It's great. And we just leave it in our pocket, and then that's why we'll look at it. And then Wojo will pick it up. He likes to do the spiritual research. So he'll look the spiritual meanings up to these words. And you'd be surprised how much they coincide with your research. It's mind-blowing, dude. And it's not just like, we want that to mean that. That ain't what it is. We're trying different things to get a result. We're not just going, this is what it is. We actually have experts in the tree area. Wojo's buddy, he works for the University of Georgia, and he's a tree expert. We send him pictures of our structures, and he's like, what in the hell? You know what I mean? So if you want a wilderness question, again, you go out to the Vogels. What makes this sound? What makes that turd? You know what I mean? Those guys can answer that for you. We don't go off an ego. There's no ego.
Yeah. That's like how I did it with my band. I wrote the songs, but I wasn't the best guitar player, and I can play the drums, but I'm not the best drummer. Everybody I surrounded myself with was better than me.
Yeah,
I was the shittiest one in the band, and that was how I needed it to be. You know what I mean? Because I knew I could bring it, and then if they brought it, then it was good. And like with our Alabama Bigfoot project, one of our guys works for the forestry department. I don't know if that's good or not, but he's made his way in there, and there's a lot about the woods that you could learn from other people.
Yeah.
And
100%.
Like I said, bringing a psychic out there, turning over every stone, because brother, Bigfoot is a fucking blank canvas right now, especially right now. And the rules have yet to be written as to what they are, how to interact with them, and we get to write that.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We get to write that shit.
Don't be afraid to try whatever. Just don't be mean. Nothing mean. You know what I mean? We don't necessarily need a body. Jane Goodall didn't need a body, and she sat with mountain gorillas. So relax, man. Turn over every stone, right? Try different things. Play that music. Use that music bowl, right? Try the Ovilus. We can think out of the box. We can do anything we want within reason, where we're just not assholes out there, right? And there's plenty to do, man. Don't be afraid. And that's why I say, don't shit on your fellow researcher. If somebody walks up to you and Bigfoot has 10 heads, okay, explain to me why you think Bigfoot has 10 heads. Let's have that conversation. Dialogue. We don't have that in America no more. We're too busy shitting on each other because we have this senseless screen between us. Everybody's sending a text message. I can send you a text message right now and say F you to you, and you think we're fighting. And I was over there, and I'm laughing going, F you, right? Everything we do is a text message, bro. It sucks. Everybody on the side is a text message. I don't know. It's somebody saying, oh, hey, Richie, yeah, whatever, dude. You know what I mean?
That's why I feel like back in the day when I grew up, I had better relationships with people. Because when you talk to them, you actually fucking spoke to them.
Yeah.
You heard the inflection in their voice. Yep. You know what they meant. And our world, it's also, you would think with the technology we would kind of advance, but what we've kind of done is went backwards, and now we're more tribal, I think, than ever. You're in your clique, and we can't agree. And because you agree on, or you think something differently, I have to hate you for it.
Yeah. You're right on. It's sad. And it's sad. And you can bring that into the Bigfoot world. And that's why I'm going to look at the camera and tell you, man, talk to people. Don't shit on them, man. If they have a different point of view or a different experience, don't say, oh, that ain't what my Bigfoot looked like. News for you. Geographics matter. Food matters. Sun angle matters. They all look different. Settle down. So don't we. And Eskimo doesn't live in Haiti for a reason. All right? Stop it. So let's just stop that crap. Have the conversation, because you're hurting the research by doing that. That's what you do. And in a certain sort of way, you're becoming a gatekeeper by doing that. You stop the conversation right then and there. That's like a gatekeeper, another form of a gatekeeper, right? I share my stuff. I got bones that I have no explanation of why they were shattered and the bone marrow was sucked out of them. I have no explanation. I'm not afraid to show them, and I'm not worried about what you think. But I would invite you to have a conversation with me and say, hey, I have ones that are similar to that, but we have bare. And I would go, oh, okay. Do you have like teeth marks on it? Is there claw dug into it or anything? Because I don't have any teeth mark here. Oh, wait, I don't either. Oh my God, dude. It isn't a bear. See that? Took 2 minutes. Took 2 minutes.
So like when you mentioned gatekeeping and then you brought the bear thing up with the bones, you can always learn, and you may not have thought of something from a different set of, eyes, right? Looking at it. And so like I had showed these tracks to Meldrum, and Meldrum told me they were stamps. Okay. And then at another conference I was at, Meldrum was there too. A podiatrist came by and started breaking down the feet. And he's like, no, these ain't tracks. Let me tell you what all this is. And he starts like fucking telling me, explaining the tracks. It was cool as shit. And then I went over and asked Meldrum again. I was like, and granted, Meldrum's seen a lot of tracks, so he may not ever remembered looking at those tracks. But the second time around, he didn't say they were stamps. So right. different opinions.
That's right.
Different backgrounds matter.
Yes. No, you're right on. And someone asked about DNA. That's a great question. I always get this question, like I'm touching the bones. He's horrified I'm touching the bones. First of all, one thing I'm going to say, there's a long waiting list for true DNA. Second of all, I don't know who's getting my bones. Third of all, I don't know if I'm getting my bones back. Fourth of all, when they do come back, it's going to come back unknown. That's about it. That's part.
I'm still collecting DNA, but at the end,
I have some in my freezer, so when I'm gone, somebody else can take it and pay $10,000, wait 3 years, and hope you get the right sample back. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is now. Unless you know somebody, you got some connections, you might know somebody. I don't know anybody, man. I have to call somebody up and go, hey, I need a bone tested from the woods. Yeah, I don't know if it's human. It could be. Like, I don't know. What am I going to do? Oh, you want me to give it to you? Yeah. Where's the address? Let me just ship it off. No, I'm not doing that. I'm collecting all my stuff here. And when things progress in that area and they get better in that area, we're going to have it. I have things saved properly here. We actually have a rock that had like saliva on it that we've collected and saved, right? We believe that rock, and it was one of my astute audience members, who I say family members, really brought it up and said, what if they take that and roll it around their mouth, and that's how they clean their teeth or something? They clean their mouth. And I was like, wow, that's freaking awesome. What a great thought. Where'd you come up with that? Again, not gatekeeping, sharing, right? Being wide open, being out on YouTube Live, asking questions, dealing with the trolls coming in that got nothing better to do, and the basement's chilly today. You know what I mean? So, we're not afraid to put it out there. We're not afraid to have the conversations. I don't know if I froze. Everything just went weird.
No, you're good.
But that is a prime example of having a conversation. To think about the rock, it was almost rounded, rolling around in the mouth, and it was on the gifting chair, and it went from the gifting chair to this log that had the zinger wrappers, because we give them zinger wrappers that are torn open, no teeth marks, no claw marks. They're torn open. I have fingerprints on a thing of zingers, and the fingerprints,
you're gonna catch me, is what you're gonna catch. You keep putting fucking zingers out there. That is my all-time. Besides those Christmas tree cakes, zinger Twinkies, or that's number one for me, brother. And you put those fuckers out, and I might be out there in a damn Speedo eating zingers, but don't get mad.
Yo, don't get mad when I'm standing next to you in a Speedo. Go, what's up, bro? I talk about it all the time. Like right now, for your audience sake, I'm not wearing pants. You know what I mean? They don't know any better.
Right.
It's visual,
But, with the DNA, at the end of the day, we don't have a type specimen. So anything you send in, even if you pulled the hair off of the Bigfoot, they don't have anything to test it against.
That's my point. Exactly.
So it comes back as unknown. We've had 3 samples come back unknown. And maybe what we're hoping is one day a fucking specimen gets brought in one way or another, and then they can test that unknown sample that we had against that to see, okay, hey, now we have a species. Let's say there's a body found in Ohio. they could then test our samples and be like, oh, hey, we also have this species living in Florida.
Correct.
We also have it living in Alaska. And then now you can actually start pinpointing all the spots in the country. But like with Darby, I know you heard about that DNA study.
Mm-hmm.
We found this handprint and we collected the sebum and we were going to send it to him. And he told me nobody knows how to test it, but go ahead and send it anyways.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, no, go fuck yourself, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to hold on to it. And then the hair, I was like, but I collected hair at the same time. And he's like, well, we're looking at it under a microscope. And I'm like, oh, so you're not even DNA testing it? And he's like, no, we're going to look at it and see if it lacks a medulla. And I was like, brother, why are you looking at it for that? Because you don't have a specimen. So you don't know if their hair lacks a medulla or not.
Right. It'll compare to the other hair that you already have that you don't know what it is.
Right. So what's the point?
There isn't. That's my point to the whole conversation.
But, well, if you notice, every few years there's a damn DNA study out, and they collect up everybody's shit that everybody's got.
Yep. Not interested.
And they never get it back.
Not interested. See, these here are shattered. I don't have beard. There's nothing big enough. There's no teeth marks on it. This bone was snapped in half and all the bone marrow was sucked out of it. Tell me an animal that does that in southeastern Massachusetts or even at your place. If you can name one at your place that breaks it with power, not teeth, not claws, shatters it. And I got about 20 of these in my studio right now.
The bear here and the raccoons will eat the bones, but they can't suck the marrow out. They have to crush the whole bone.
Right. So what they do, a lot of times what they'll do, the smaller ones will rub their teeth on it to get the calcium out. So you'll have these little ridge marks like this where you can see the little teeth that are going at it. But the actual incident that shattered this in half, that's the incident that you want to research. And when you get a bunch of them and you start looking and you're going, holy shit, that thing's just broken. Like just absolutely. This one has fractures running up and down it. Fractures. Right. That's a thick ass bone. That's right there. Look at it. It's right there, the joint. It's got fractures. Something with power. I always envision those little ambush huts, I call them, along a game trail, and the forearm just coming across and snapping those little bony legs in half, and he just walks back to the den. You know what I mean? That's the visual I have. That makes sense. You know, that's and that's the other thing about structures. A lot of that has to do with deer trapping, changing the game trail, stuff like that, making that deer stop and think, get that second to kill them, you know, or catch up to them, whatever they're doing. You know, those types of things. So when people say structures, they actually have a necessity. You know, they have a necessity. That's food. You know, they also probably have meaning and stuff like that. That would just be, all of it is just, theory, right? Hypotheses, educated guess at this point, because we are somewhat educated on the subject, obviously. We're out there all the time. But that's what we're seeing when we get to these scattered areas of all these trees that are broken down. Like Mother Nature just hates that one spot. The magic whirlywinds came in pissed off and just blew out those 200 trees. But all the other ones are beautiful. But if you go in there, you're going to find all the deer scat all through there, man. They're shitting themselves, literally, because they're caught. And that's the sense, and we've been in different areas where we have these huts and we found bones in them. What we believe is huts kind of reshaped through the laurels, those laurel water plants. There's trees broken off and pushed down on them, and you could crawl right in them. And one of them you can walk in, and there was a mushroom cap, like 6 feet, not a whole mushroom, excuse me. The cap was hooked on the branch, and the rest of it was sitting on the laurel, and it was pulled fresh out of the ground just up there 6 feet. There's no reason for that mushroom. There's no reason. Again, on YouTube Live, you can see that happen in person when I go, what the? a lot of swearing, a lot of like vocals, and then this idiot goes, "Did you hear that?"
Right?
Yeah, of course I did. I'm standing next to you, moron. You know what I mean? But that's the reaction that you get. It's all natural and real. It's right there on YouTube Live, and the things that we find and things that we're finding, the spiritual meaning to a lot of the research that we're finding out. There is a lot more to this, like you said, than the ape, the primate, all that missing link. I go back again, and you see, I go back to Ernie Davio. Look at that face. That's a human looking face. His eyes were blue, very distinct. He said, very distinct. His eyes were blue. You go back into the lineage of humans, and you'll find some answers with those blue eyes. You know what I mean? So think
Right.
of that, and that's a well documented encounter that Ernie had, like I said, we got to go back there. I watched his emotion as he went from tree to tree, and I said, "Okay, I'm you, and you're the subject," and he's getting emotional. He had to stop and kind of get his bearings. He was shaking, and this is a big man. This is a martial artist. He's a tough guy. And to watch him have that raw, beautiful emotion. You could just it was palatable. You could feel it in the air.
And that was in the 70s, right?
No, that was 82, I want.
82? Okay.
Yeah. I keep going to 83, but that's the only year they didn't build Corvettes, so my mind automatically goes there. So it could be 82, 83, but it's look up that story. He's well known all over the podcast world, and his stories are remarkable. And the way he tells it, he's very thorough about, very like pinpoint, like, yeah, and I did this, and this is why I thought this. And it's perfect, dude. It's a great teaching, and he's a great teacher. But yeah, I can get Ernie with you and have him sit with you. It's a story that you would appreciate, I think, when you hear it.
Oh, that'd be cool, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and he was hunting deer, and you hear him. He's tracking deer. He's telling you how he's tracking deer, and it all makes sense. You're like, holy shit, that's crazy, dude. And we actually went to leave that area that day. It was funny. We have all us researchers there with a lot of years combined of research. We're leaving, and you hear this loud pop off a tree like a knock, and Paul Fraser goes, "You hear that knock?" And I'm like, hope somebody got that, And Wojo heard it too, and yeah, it's pretty wild. It was kind of spiritual in that sense, you know what I mean? So I value Ernie's guidance too. He's Cree as well. So dude, he's a plethora of information, man. The things he'll tell you. Oh my God. And it will make sense. You're like, oh my God, it already happened. Oh that's a great idea. Those are the people we surround ourselves with. And again, back to elder medicine, bear claw, and all, we have Curious Cryptids over here, and Sam from Sam's Pretty Paranormal, who's my producer, but she has activity in her backyard. She's astute. She's adding things. Kurt W. They're adding things. Like I said, Benno from Oz, that guy, he's from Australia, man. And that dude, man, whoo, he knows all kinds of shit. And we talk about all kinds of history and think why it would tie in. And right back to the Vikings when they talk about, trading with the hairy men. And this Saturday on my show, I kind of brought it more in-house because I like to call it the research room now, where I have some guests here and there, but it's mostly us going over our evidence and then going over topics and theories. And we went back to the origin of Bigfoot. So say now we know it's real. Just say we do. We now know it's real. Where did it come from?
Right.
Where did it come? And why during the prehistoric days were we small? Why were we depicted as these little people with toothpicks trying to stab a T-Rex? Why, if the plants were big, the animals were big, the water, everything in the water was big, the water plants were big, right? The whales were big, the sharks were big, but the humans were little, going, hey, get away from me, leave me alone. Like we're little morsels. Right?
Yeah.
Because we weren't, dude. We weren't. They depicted us as that. We were not that. That's bullshit. And
right.
and you could look into is it the Avila brothers? They're in the Giants on History Channel. They're from Massachusetts as well. They're stonemasons, finding these stones, going, how did this big stone get here? There's no way humans did this, and that's what got their curiosity up. So this week we're going from the origins, and I'm adding giants. So I did Lovelock Cave a while ago, but we haven't talked about the giants in a while. So I want to try to, now that we had a conversation about the origin of Bigfoot, I want to have a conversation, and we do live research right there on the air. My audience gets involved in everything because they're the best teammates you could have. They're so smart. So we're going to just start pulling up information and try and get documentation on where the giants came from. Where were they? They're in Massachusetts. We know that. We know that they're in Lovelock Cave, right? Out west. We know that, So why is Bigfoot walking around at 8-9 feet tall, right? Well, maybe if he's a primitive first being, maybe he's still big. We still big, and our lineage has changed because of whatever it might be. Hell, there was mating going on in Lovelock Cave between the Paiutes and these giants that they wrote about, right? They took the women and forced themselves on them. The Paiutes did, after they burned all the rest of all the men in the cave. If you read those stories and you start going down that rabbit hole, you're going to find some things that kind of coincide with your research, believe it or not. Interesting stuff.
Yeah. Well, brother, we've been on here about 2 hours. So
that's because we love each other, bro. That's it.
Yeah, man.
We're bonded for life, man. I want to thank your audience for being here, man. And
well, hey, tell all the people. We got about 187 people right now. It was like up to 215 one time.
Good.
But yeah, go ahead and tell everybody how to find you.
Yeah, check me out on Bigfoot Banter with Richie B on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, man. Get over to Facebook because then you can message me if you have any questions. You want to share some evidence back and forth. I'll share everything. I don't care. I don't gatekeep nothing, man. Well, there's one thing I'm suspect about, so I have to research it first. But anyways, but yeah, check me out on Bigfoot Banter with Richie B on YouTube and X. We're over on X now. And we have a Bigfoot Banter with Richie B podcast network. We air on Saturday nights at 6 p.m. is my show, Eastern time. Check us out over there. Tuesday night is Wojo's show, Home of the Boom, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Friday night is Sam's Pretty Paranormal podcast, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And then Sunday, we have the legend of Maine, Miss Jean Tewksbury. If you don't know her, she's an amazing researcher. Check her out. She's Ghost Cats and Cryptids. She's trying to prove the fact that ghost cats, mountain lions, aren't extinct in the state of Maine. And she's a Bigfoot researcher. She's at 6 p.m. on Sunday nights. So go check us out. We love talking about all these crazy strangeness and oddities. And please go over to Prayers for Ella Facebook page. There's a donate section. If you got a buck or two, throw it in there. At least follow that page because awareness is everything, man. And you would never want to be in the situation that Denny was in. And they're amazing, powerful people. And I love you, Denny, and your family. And I see you, Ella. I love you, baby Jack. I love you, Mama. Thank you all for having me. I want everybody to keep climbing. Stacy, I can't thank you enough. I know I was a fill-in guy, but I hope I did all right for you.
Yeah,
you know
hey, buddy. You killed it, man. You were going to be on in a few weeks anyway. So.
Yeah, I know. I got told that, and I'm like, yeah, sure, buddy. And then he hung the phone up on me or something. I didn't talk to him. No, I'm just kidding. None of that happened, man. I'm honored to be here, and I'm so proud to watch your show grow and see that light in your face, bro. You deserve every bit of that. And if I may, all due respect, your dad's watching too, and he's super pumped for you, man.
Yeah, man. That's the hope.
That's the no, bro. That's the no. Know that.
Right.
Super proud, man. Super proud. Big smile. So good. God bless you, brother. Thank you for having me, and thank you. I just can't thank you enough. Thank you, everybody on the side, your audience. Whether they're happy, mad, sad, or glad, making bad comments, good comments. Bulletproof, baby. I love you all. Let's roll.
Hey, brother. I'll talk to you soon, man.
We'll see you guys.
All right, dude. Later.